On August 13th, in the heart of Toronto's financial district, SmallCapPower hosted a Mid-Summer Cannabis Investor Event. Here's a presentation from Chad Connor, CEO of Pure Ratios.
Hi everyone.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Chad, the mic's
I'm the only private company presenting, so I have the honor to come in an earlier stage as most everybody else here, but we have a lot of exciting things to talk to you about. And really the differentiator of our company is a couple things. One is my background and the background of a lot of our team. My background has been an herbalist and acupuncturist for 20 years, and a lot of people on our staff, including our vice president, comes from that tradition. So compared to a lot of other companies, we really use the traditions. They've used cannabis medicine, some of them for up to 5,000 years, in our product lines to create really wellness products, synergizing cannabinoids with other natural substances, herbs, minerals, vitamins, things like this. Our company is also based a lot on mixing scientific research. I can dovetail the presenter before us. There's a lot of similarities. I really enjoyed hearing you guys. We have a lot of the same vision. Our first product line we launched was also transdermal, which I'll get into. And also another one of our big focuses is personalization, which I believe is not spoken about enough because cannabis is sold over the counter, and according to my experience being a practitioner for 20 years, it needs to be personalized. You get such better results if you can find a way to actually allow a person to know what they're taking instead of going to a bud tender or somebody who has no training in actual medicine. So as I mentioned myself, I have 20 years experience actually in alternative medicine. I've been in cannabis now for about 4 years. So I'm a licensed acupuncturist, I have a master's degree. I'm also an herbologist, and I've been also international. I lived overseas in North Africa for 13 years. Did the first alternative medical center there and actually acupuncture training institute. We had a 4-year program, trained many acupuncturists in North Africa. So education is also a big part of my background. Todd, which is our vice president, he's been working in the field for actually 30 years. He also is heavily trained in naturopathy and also Ayurvedic medicine, which is the traditional medicine from India. All these traditions have used cannabis for many, many years. So we really use that knowledge to create products that, in my opinion, are much more, a lot more efficacy and a lot of revolutionary parts to them. Billy Connor's my dad. He was the CEO he's actually stepping down and I'm stepping up in this role. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's also created many, many patents. And that's another one of the missions we have is everything we do is a non-Me Too product and it has proprietary or patents behind it. For us, if we don't protect our IP, we're giving away something that's extremely valuable for our company. So he's a part of our advisory board and he'll be doing patents every year, at least 1 or 2 as part of the company. We have Frank, Dr. Kohinka. He's a PhD that comes from advanced drug delivery science. So he's specialized in transdermal delivery over the last 30 years in the pharmaceutical world. Also buccal delivery, as you guys mentioned, so oral mucosa delivery, and also biodegradable implants. He wrote a really exciting new transdermal patch patent that we filed in 2016 that I'll talk to you about. We also have Ryan. Ryan's our extraction specialist. We have an extraction division. Now, didn't mention we are a California company. That's probably something I should have said at the beginning. But we're located in San Diego, our company. So as I mentioned, we launched in 2015. Really the idea that we launched also was the idea of acrylate dosing. When we looked at this industry, we realized nobody was really using technology and medical devices and IP to acrylate dose. And they weren't mixing this huge natural medicine field that has over thousands of years of use of cannabis that have really tried it out. They know what works and doesn't and how to use it and how to use other substances to really synergize the therapeutic directions of cannabis. And that's how you do it in natural medicine. So you take a chief herb, for example, I'll give you an herb like ginseng everybody knows about, it's a Chinese herb. And when you use ginseng in Chinese medicine, you put other herbs around it to synergize what it does, because it can do 5 things, right? It's the same for cannabis, but cannabis is even more peculiar because it's the major homeostasis system, our endocannabinoid system of the body. So it can harmonize massive different systems. It's a crossover homeostasis system, which is actually, believe it or not, the base of natural medicine. We're creating homeostasis and natural medicine for the body to heal itself. And here we find this endocannabinoid system that's doing the same thing. And so we're using both to really synergize scientific research of how we use these molecules with the wealth of traditional medicine. We have a product line. Currently we have a patch which became the #1 selling patch in California in 2017. The reason it's a reservoir patch. Most patches are single layer monolithic patches like a nicotine patch. The problem with that technology is they don't last that long. Hard to get patents. You can get patents on what you put in that patch, but you can't get actually a patent on the utility. So we came up with the reservoir patch technology, which is the second type in the patch world. I would give about 8 to 10% of the patch world use this technology. The reason it's so rare is it's almost impossible to get patents today. But the great thing about it is it's long lasting. Our flagship product is a patch to last up to 96 hours for pain relief, for localized topical pain relief. Also, we have a patented lozenge. It's already a patented product. I'll speak to you later. We have vaporizers where we synergize them with essential oils, working with PhD pharmacologists. They specialize in aromatherapy, so there's a way you can actually harmonize it within a vaporizer, because essential oils are 80% terpenes, if people that don't know. And we do have a topical line where we synergize with a lot of other herbs than just cannabis. We currently have a shared manufacturing license in San Diego where we have our extraction division. We have our exclusive partner for cannabis in California is Kiva Confections. It's one of the bigger companies. They've been selling our products for about 1.5 years in California. But we also straddle the hemp CBD market quite a bit. And the reason is, for example, in my background, practitioners, healthcare practitioners, they all want CBD. They all want to have cannabis as part of their practice. So it's a huge channel that we really push a lot on the nutraceutical model with CBD hemp. We have an online store growing 10% per month, every month, and we sell to natural health food stores, brick and mortars, vape stores, things like this. So we have a big channel with hemp. And then we have multiple state licensees, as other people were mentioning. We're currently in 4 states and 1 other country with our technology. So we have our cannabis products in Arizona, Oregon, Massachusetts, Arizona, Puerto Rico, and we're in Colorado also. We also have Reggie Williams. Reggie Williams is an interesting guy. He played 14 years for the NFL, which is unusual. He went to 2 Super Bowls back in the 80s and 90s. He was part of the Cincinnati Bengals. But the problem, he got so hurt that he had 24 knee operations. He has a titanium rod in his leg. He lost this much of his leg. And he was in chronic pain in a wheelchair. He asked somebody to get him some products of cannabis. He heard they helped. And he got our patch. It was the only thing that helped him. So 6 months later, after he got through rehab with our patch, he called me up and said, I want to become an investor and I want to endorse you. So he's one of our celebrity NFL spokespeople. We also have a retail division, which is very unique. We own 51% of a HARBORSIDE dispensary in Coachella Valley. That's Palm Springs. It's the first non-family owned dispensary that HARBORSIDE is putting out. It's a 5,000 square foot custom built facility. We bought 4 parcels wrapping around the off-ramp of a gas station where 100,000 cars pass a day. We got authorization for a 200 square foot sign on the freeway through the city. And we're in Desert Hot Springs in California, which is one of the most cannabis-friendly cities in California. They allow everything. They really open to it because they actually went bankrupt once, so they really opened it for cannabis. It also has the second only drive-through as part of it. It'll be opening in October. We got grandfathered in March 25th of this year, sorry, May 25th, they put a clause in the law in California, no drive-thrus. But we pushed back with HARBORSIDE and they did a clause where we got grandfathered in. So we have all this ability with our retail. So here's our product. As I mentioned, our flagship is a patch. It's 3M makes the adhesive. It's a reservoir topical patch. So you can shower with it, you can swim with it, and you get your baseline pain relief for the opioid epidemic. This is a topical patch. It's not a systemic patch as the presenter before mentioned. Our 2nd generation patch is a systemic patch, which I'll speak later on. This product became the #1 best-selling patch in California. And the reason is for a 24-hour period of time, for pain relief, our patch costs $4.50. Our competition is $30. So with 10 times this length of lasting of a patch, we really pushed up in the market in California. As I mentioned, we have our vapes. We do have a second generation vape coming out that is a dosable vape. So it has an accurately dosed part of it also, which I'll speak in a second. We have our topical line, which we mix the world's traditions, actually knowledge with our topicals. And we have our patented lozenge. The patented lozenge I want to spend a moment on because it's a very revolutionary product. What it does is it microdoses cannabis over time. So nobody's came out with technology like this yet. What it does is a soft lozenge that takes 20 to 25 minutes to dissolve. So if you think you have a 25 milligram THC lozenge and you have 1 milligram per minute time release coming out, you can imagine you're slowly concentrating the blood. Did not get the spike of active like you do when you take an edible. If you take a 20 milligram edible, you can have massive anxiety, and there's a huge portion of that that actually the body can't use. So in advanced drug delivery science, there's a therapeutic range that if you microdose, for example, 1 milligram per minute coming out, you don't get the spike, and you don't get the negative side effects on the medicinal side, including psychoactivity. So I'll give you an example. A 25 milligram lozenge is like taking a 2 to 3 milligram edible. But you get the maximum bioavailability because it's over time, it's time release. So this is a unique patent that also has a dental feature. It changes the pH in your mouth, get rid of plaque and bacteria, dry mouth and bad breath also. Future products is something, we have a lot of future products in the pipeline, and this is what we're raising a lot of our investment for. First one is we have 3 generations of a dosable vape pen under development in our R&D. Our first one's already done. It's a pod system that every inhale you get 2 milligrams of cannabinoids. The idea here is when you get into the idea of personalization, where you get the idea of accurately dosing, if you don't know what you're taking, you're all over the place. It's like going to a bar and getting a drink and not knowing the proof of alcohol. Same thing for vaporizers if you don't have accurately dosing. So we really believe it's the cutting edge, and all vaporizers in the future will be accurately dosed. We also have our transdermal patch patent we filed. We fast-tracked it, so we're expecting to get authorization in the first quarter of next year. We did our PCT patent, our international patent, and believe it or not, we got 12 claims not thrown out, which our patent attorney said in her 30 years of transdermal patents, she only had one other company that had 1 or 2 that didn't get thrown out. So we really believe we're in a fast track. On top of it, it's a modular system, and the idea is you have 2 halves of our patch. You have a membrane and you have a reservoir. So the membranes, we have 3 different ones. So you have one that's a fast-acting membrane, one that's slower, and one that's even longer. So you want a sleep patch, the last 6 hours, you put the fast-acting membrane. So you can control the flow rate through the membrane of our patch. You can fill it out over state lines because they come modular, and that's where the patent came from, because nobody thought of doing a patch in 2 parts, because usually you put them on a converting machine to do them. But you actually can fill it up in your lab. And on top of it, because it's a utility patent, you can put any pharmaceutical in this product. We also have our patent. One of the things I'm very passionate about that I won't have a lot of time to talk about, but we're developing a personalized app that's based on Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic or Indian medicine, functional medicine, which is the base of naturopathic medicine, and genomics, where you fill a questionnaire, you upload your genomics, you add the information, and it personalizes your recommendation of your ratio of CBD to THC, your terpene profile, your dosage, which is all over the place because we have a bell curve dosage in cannabis. So it's a 100-fold difference from one patient to another, and delivery, mode of delivery. If I do a delivery with a patch or I eat an edible, it's a completely different experience for the body. So that's also personalized. And when you get a personalization, because this is done through Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic medicine and genomics, you can personalize lifestyle, diet, other herbs. This becomes a platform that we can license to other companies. Also, our herbal formulas, we have 4 traditions that they're coming in. Our first one's already formulated under Chinese medicine. And as I mentioned before, we're synergizing the therapeutic directions. So we'll have one that's for neurological support, one that's for anti-anxiety, one's for immune support, one's for inflammatory digestive support. By adding herbs that already go in that direction, we get a heightened effect with the cannabis. So the first one's Pure Essentials is our Chinese herbal line. Second is Pure Eclectics, which is a traditional Western herbal line that used cannabis for hundreds of years in the US. So they have massive data on how to use it. So that's our second one. Our third one's Functionals. That's all for the functional naturopathic physicians that use nutraceuticals, which include vitamins, herbs, and cannabis. And our last one is Pure Vedics, which is based on the Ayurvedic or Indian tradition. And then we have one we call Pure Spirits, which will be for more the recreational or something we call lifestyle exploration, which we coined the recreational market. That's the Pure Spirits. Our go-to market, as I mentioned, we're in California with Kiva. We've been since 2017 with them. We got in 360 dispensaries in 2016. 2018's been a little bit of a confusion in California with the licensing, so we went down, but we're building back up. We're also in multi-states, as I mentioned. Here's the states we're in. We're highly heavy in education. We're building a platform that's actually going to educate practitioners, and it's lifelong learning online education. It's modules. You have to pass a test. So for practitioners, they can be part of that. If practitioners pass it, they actually go into our platform, which is our app. They can do the telemedicine side. So we're mixing telemedicine, personalization, education. We also have an education portal we're developing for retailers, so they know how to sell our product. Another one for consumers. And lastly, one that we really feel is going to be a success is independent sales reps. One of the things we found, they're not educated. So we're doing a heavy education module for them to sell our products. We have existing in-house salespeople already. As I mentioned, we've been in the market for about 3 years. And we also have an online store for CBD hemp. So here's our Harborside dispensary. As I mentioned, it's 5,000 square feet. It's custom built. Actually, my father owns the properties. He built them himself. We have Harborside, the managing partner. They have 11 years experience. I don't know if you guys saw, but today they just are going public in Canada. They have a $200 million valuation. They're the best dispensary group I've found in the US. They're taking a 10% equity. They've already purchased it for $500,000. We have a $5 million valuation on the Harborside dispensary, which Pure Ratios owns 51%. We're on the Interstate 10. We have 100,000 cars a day passing. We have a grandfathered-in drive-through, which we feel would be a great novelty, particularly if you look at the point, in 2016, there was $6.4 billion of touristic dollars spent in Coachella Valley. It's a huge touristic neighborhood. It's growing 10% per year, and we have a delivery license with a drive-through, with all the cars passing our off-ramp. We're on the off-ramp to the freeway of Palm Springs. We have a 200 square foot sign, which we got an ordinance from the city, from the city council. They gave us authorization. And on top of it, we applied for a license in West Hollywood. West Hollywood is offering 8 licenses. We're doing it through Harborside. We own actually 51% as part of this deal. And that license is going to have the first edible restaurant in the world is offered in that community. So and the person who did the architectural plan was the head retail designer for Apple Retail Stores International. So he did our design. So we really feel we have a heavy chance to get that one, which will be part of this deal also. So right now we have a projected revenue for next year of $6.5 million. This year we're at $150,000 per month. The reason why we have low revenues, just to put it out there, is we spent about $2.5 million in R&D. We've raised $4 million for our project and put the most of it in R&D to really develop great products. Not a lot in marketing. We're here to finish our pipeline of products and also build our brand. We grew 35% from quarter 1 to quarter 2. Last year we were at $1.4 million in sales. We have a 60% gross margin on all our products, including the licensees. So the licensing model is interesting. It's a little bit like you guys mentioned before. They actually license our product, Pure Ratios. We have exclusive licensee. Our royalties are built in our unit costs, and we're in, like I mentioned, in 4 states, 1 country, and we have many more in the pipeline. And here are our financial requirements. We have a pre-money valuation of $9.5 million right now. We're LLC in California. We're raising $2.5 million in round A, and we are also having a public offering in 6 months in Canada is our trajectory. We have 3 rounds of funding. We're round 1 now. We have round B happening after round 1's complete, and round C, which we believe will happen in 6 months, will be a RTO in Canada. Voila. You guys have any questions?
Typically, people talk about when someone walks into a dispensary, they're after the 3 musketeers, which is pain, anxiety, and sleep. You've not covered off sleep. Your extraction talks about terpenes. I'm curious as to whether you're CBN oriented or whether your sleep is in your
It is.
products for
Yes.
the future.
Every product we have, sleep's part of it. It's one of the huge categories of what cannabis treats, so absolutely. We have a capsule line where part of our vaporizer lines also will be focused on sleep with the terpenes. So absolutely, sleep is a huge one. We're actually going after all the major therapeutic categories of cannabis. So that's the unique thing about mixing herbs. We can really heighten those categories. Nobody's doing it. I don't know any other company that has naturopaths and acupuncturists and herbalists as part of their team. So we really believe with the nutraceutical industry being $300 billion, we believe that's a real sleeping giant for what we have. We're highly a medicinal line. That's what we're going after. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Any questions? Then,
yeah. You mentioned your utility patent on the patches. Is that able to deliver any sort of drug?
Any drug with the right Dalton size that goes transdermally, correct?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's huge.
Yeah, that's a huge one.
Yeah.
We're really excited about that one. The great thing about it, it opens up for even natural health practitioners that have two units. They can actually mix a vitamin patch or an herbal patch in their clinic, or compound pharmacists. It actually opens a whole new branch of medical devices that never existed. There's never been in my office patch I can make, right? And there's never been different membranes that control flow rates. Exactly. So that's a big market we want to build. That and the app, I feel the app market too, with the personalization app, is going to be a revolutionary model for how we go forward in this industry.
On the extraction division in San Diego, is it extraction or is it extraction and distillation?
And distillation also. So we have a chromatography piece of equipment, we have distillation, we have CO2 extraction. So we have a full extraction equipment. When we separate cannabinoids, we can pull off the pesticides, we can separate them out also. So we have all that equipment. And we have our extraction specialist, he extracted 3 years for the biggest company in cannabis, so a really excellent extractor. And part of what we want to do too is develop IP around the extraction methods. So we're going to have it in-house and we're heavily in the R&D. So that's a big push of what we're doing.
And the vape that has the dose, I assume in the, gee whiz, I had no idea what I was consuming before I hit the road. I assume that at least you can end up saying, okay,
right,
with our product.
Exactly, right. Because that's the problem. You can take 2 hits and you can't leave. You're stuck. You can't take your car. So if you can know that 1 hit's enough, or for sleep, you don't want to overdose. You don't need too much. So it's a real way that you can personalize. The problem with dosage in cannabis, when you get into science, it's 100-fold difference from one person to another. It can be 100 folds. So somebody can need 10 milligrams, another person can need 500 or 1,000. It's incredible. So how do you find that? That's why you need personalization. And going to a bud tender in a dispensary in California, I'm sorry, they're not trained. So it's a real handicap for growing the medicinal part of our medicine.
But on that note, if you end up looking at some of the analyzing of saliva for intoxication at roadside, right, where someone is a 1 versus a 500, how do you end up trying to say, gee, Bob can drink a quart of alcohol and have no effect, and the other guy has an ounce and it's on his can.
Right. Right.
How do you end up kind of trying to bring some kind of measurement for roadside?
Right. That's a great question. I believe if we have a dosable vape pen, we're going to have a starting point. Transdermal, as the presenter mentioned before, it's usually not very psychoactive, so it's a good one to do. So it really depends on your medical device and how you administer it. But it's a great question. I think it's an exploration question.
Licensing some of your patents of lozenges or transdermals to either other drugs and or other competitors in the weed space.
Yes. Yeah, that's something we're looking into. Right now we wanted to build the brand, but one of the things we're looking into is to build a platform. Because it's the 2000 and let's say 18 model. It's the 21st century model where you have a platform, like the Uber models or the shared economy. So it's something we're heavily looking into for some of our IP.
Alrighty. Actually, last question.
Last question?
Yeah. Shameless plug for Gravitas here, actually. Can you just tell us more about your partnership with Northern Light Ventures?
Yes, so we are signing an agreement with Northern Light Ventures, which is a subsidiary of Gravitas. So they're going to be the one leading this funding rounds. I'm also here all day tomorrow if anybody wants to chat and have a talk about what we have and have more one-on-one. Because I was able just to show you like 10%.
Amazing.
So thank you
All
guys.
right, good stuff. Thanks, guys.
Be sure to check us out at smallcappower.com for more information on these events. Thanks for watching.